At home, we found the aforementioned combs on the floor and 3 hungry cats. We feel so fortunate. I could not imagine a worse place to be than with 62,000 people on the top deck of a baseball bat when a major quake strikes. Yet we made it unscathed. None of our friends suffered injury. Tragically, there were many worse places to be on the Cypress structure, the Marina District, in the Santa Cruz area, in or near various collapsing buildings. Another memorable scene that we oddly omitted from this account was our visit to the Cypress Freeway the next day. It had been cordoned off by that time by emergency crews. You could only get within a block of it. And they had run out of that yellow caution tape, so they had the street blocked off with yellow crime scene tape. So somewhere, I can't find it now, but I have a photograph with the freeway in the background collapsed and the smoke coming out from between the layers. And in the foreground is this yellow tape that says crime scene on it. A dramatic picture. The last 3 days following the immediate experience of the quake and our adventure to get home have been characterized by strange emotions and feelings. Either or both of us have felt exhausted, spaced out, irritable, angry at responsible government agencies, a desperate need to return to normalcy which cannot be the same again, guilt and sadness for those so many less fortunate than we, obsession with absorbing every piece of news about the event, along with elation at our good fortune. I know that this experience is not over yet. There is an uncertainty about the future and its effects on us, our jobs, our friends, union members, and our communities. It has surely been an experience worth sharing. I have a desperate need to do so, so there it is. We love you, Barbara and Dave. And one other postscript is that we did subsequently learn that 2 of our union members were killed, one on the Cypress Freeway and the other, the driver of the car that was repeatedly seen plunging into the abyss on the Bay Bridge when the top deck collapsed. That was a hospital worker. So that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions or whatever, if there are.
So how long did it take to get, for you, how long did it take to get back to normal at your job?
Well, we opened up pretty quickly, and the union office was on 27th Street in a famous 2-story brick buildings, which are like the most dangerous places to be. It was in an old building. It was a Union French bakery, was the name of it, and that word union didn't have anything to do with the fact that we had a union in there now. The people were at work when we had gone to the ball game, but there were still people working in the union hall. And being a brick building, when the quake struck, there was so much brick dust in the air that the people thought the building was on fire. It wasn't on fire, it didn't burn, but there was so much, the mortar had powdered and was in the air, so they all ran out, afraid. So I don't know, I would say a couple of weeks at least, It was very hard to get. I remember going back to the office and sitting at my desk doing nothing, I'm just sort of spaced out, I guess you'd say. And it took quite a while to resume normalcy. And we didn't have anything to deal with like people whose houses were destroyed or their jobs were destroyed. They had a lot of stuff that they had to contend with and figure out how to cope with dealing with. We didn't have any of that. We had some friends that we could help out and all that, but.
And where was your house, or where is your house?
House is in North Oakland on 61st Street between Telegraph and College Avenue.
Oh, so you were down on the flatlands and nothing, you didn't get nothing beyond just stuff falling out?
No.
Wow.
We live in one of those so-called pre-war bungalows, and one of the other things that we did is that the Alameda County Central Labor Council and the Teamsters Union organized a caravan of people taking stuff down to Watsonville, because we found out that there were a lot of farm workers in Watsonville whose buildings that they lived in had been damaged or destroyed, and they were living out in these fields with no. So we took tents, all my camping gear and all that, and we drove that down there. And when we were down in Watsonville, there were dozens and dozens of houses that looked exactly like the house that we lived in, and they, I don't know, those of you who are involved in construction, cripple studs, which are these little, the house is on a foundation and, the crawl space underneath the house, and it's all on these studs. And so these houses were like in perfect shape, except they had fallen over off their foundations. So they were 2.5 feet into the next driveway and cockamamie and that sort of thing. A truly memorable experience. The visions haven't dimmed much.
Thank you, that's fascinating, and this is one thing that I've always experienced as in my life around earthquakes and any kind of disasters, is that there's this great need for human beings to somehow sit around and talk.
It was very therapeutic.
About these events, and even the most minuscule. I remember when I was a kid out in the 70s, the early 70s, there was an earthquake. I was up in Sonoma County, and there was an earthquake in Santa Rosa that had significant damage to a couple of really old buildings, both of which were now in use as, one was a porno theater and one was a topless bar. But for weeks after this event, it was a 5.0 earthquake. Everybody, you'd stop you on the street, it's people you never talked to, and they said, "Oh, how you doing? What did you do on the earthquake?" That kind of thing. So, and